So, kitty! Sorry. Hey you, I'm Evie Driver and welcome to another video. For those who may not know, I am the author of the Gravity Rising saga, which is a young adult science fiction futuristic fantasy story. Gravity Rising is book 1 and it will be published in 2019. So if you're interested in following my author journey or just hearing news about my WIP, definitely consider subscribing below. NaNoWriMo is on the horizon, and at first I was not going to participate for reasons we will get into later in October. I do have an entire series dedicated to nano prep, completely mapped out, completely just all ready to go. I have 12 videos for you, and I really hope that they're helpful. I wanted to kind of go over topics that really aren't detrimental to NaNoWriMo, but I find super helpful and super profound for me in the month of NaNoWriMo, November. So I really wanted to focus today on Spotify playlists, and this is really unscripted. It's just going to be me talking about why I use playlists, why Spotify, why not somewhere else, you know, how I organize my playlists, what I listen to, and all of that stuff. But if you are curious, you can definitely check my Spotify account by yourself and for your listening pleasure. So I do have character playlists and as well as an overall, I think, book 1 playlist. I don't think I have a series playlist. I do have a series playlist on my iPhone, my iTunes account or whatever, but I haven't yet transferred it over, and I don't think I ever will because I don't listen to words with like lyrics and stuff when I write. It's impossible. I literally write the words that the artist sings when the song plays instead of what I need to write in my head. So what I mean by organizing playlists is, for me, what I would recommend is I would recommend you have a playlist of whatever works for you. So for me, as a perfect example, me. I have a separate playlist on my iPhone and Spotify, but specifically for Spotify. Set up a playlist that is instrumental, orchestral, or like ASMR, whatever is get your goats. Like, I love ASMR, so I'm probably going to have like an ASMR playlist. Not probably on Spotify, there's not too many good ASMR audio choices for Spotify yet. I love setting up separate playlists for when I'm writing versus when I'm trying to tap into a character's or a plot line or just a general overarching theme of the story. So I have multiple playlists. I have 8 playlists because I have 8 main characters. I say 8 main characters. I have Etrix and then the 7 supporting main characters. And in that, each of them has their own playlist. Currently, they are all organized by their spirit animal, I guess you can say, like what best represents them. But I did the graphics myself, and it's just something that I think is nice, and it also coordinates with character constellations that I did by myself. So yeah, it's just a nerd thing that I did, but I'm really proud of it. Each of these 8 playlists allow me to visualize the character's head and get into their emotion, get into their thought process, get into their plot, character arc, whatever you want to say. If I have a scene, even not written in their perspective, but this character has to do something so pivotal for the scene, maybe they're not narrating it in that scene, but their role in that scene is so crucial, I will allow myself to kind of step back from writing and listen to usually songs with like lyrics and words and stuff. And this allows me to tap into my power place. My power place is my creative battery, and it is supercharged when I listen to music or sleep. Whenever I sleep, I usually have a dream or 2 per night that I tap into, and then I steal from my dreams and put them in my book. But when I'm not sleeping, music is really the only way I can tap into that. And I'm not talking about like the want for writing. I'm talking about specifically instantaneously being zapped into a space where I can allow myself to just be immersed in my story, my characters, and my plot. So these playlists allow me to specifically go to this character or that character or revisit, like, so some of my playlists, characters have the same songs on the playlists. So if you go through all of them, you'll be able to kind of spot, oh, this person has this song, and oh, that person has that song. Usually that one song relates to a character arc in some way that affects that other character, which is why a song can affect both playlists, I guess you could say. So my power place is my gold mine, and without it, I wouldn't have Gravity Rising. I wouldn't have all the twists and turns that I think are exciting, that I'm really most excited for. I also wouldn't be able to keep track of all of my 8 characters that usually have something to do or say in every single scene. Allowing myself to deep dive into the trenches of categorizing, like having my own character playlists versus my overall playlist versus a instrumental playlist. It's multi-purpose, so instead of having one gigantic playlist and whenever you hit shuffle, you never know if you're gonna get an instrumental song or if it's gonna be the sad song. You can even do it by mood. So something that I'm also interested in is setting up a couple of mood aesthetic playlists, I guess you can say. Because I have certain songs that really get me like pumped and ready to go. So if I have like a chase scene, someone's chasing after Etrix, as people usually do, you know, I have those songs. But if the scene needs to be sad, or if it needs to be like grotesque, like I have like horror songs that I listen to, and I have really sad melancholy songs that I listen to, and they're specific and targeted. So whenever I say create Spotify playlists, you can do basically anything you want. You can do moods, you can do an overall playlist, you can separate it by instrumental writing versus ASMR versus, you know, songs with lyrics in them. And that's what I recommend doing. That way, if you are in the writing mood and you only can write like me, you can only write with instrumental music or whatever. That way you have your go-to playlist. However, if you are in the mood and you don't know what to write and you know you need a sad scene, but you don't feel like listening to your whole entire instrumental playlist, do you know how helpful it would be if you could reference that sad song playlist? You know, like if you are pantsing your ass off and you're doing really great, but you're stuck and you need to write a sad scene. You just go to that Spotify playlist and you play it, and all of those songs you know get you into that power place, and you can tap into that feeling of being sad and translate it to the page, even though, you know, it's not really about being perfect for NaNoWriMo, but it allows you to go into that place, at least for me, to kind of tap into something useful. I like to, you know, have some kind of organization and structure, and music really does allow me to have this. So if you're anything like me and you think that this will be helpful for you, I really hope that this is helpful for anyone else, because for me, I found so much great success doing this. I only did the characters because I never really got around to doing the moods, but I have an entire 2 months to do my mood playlists. So for me, music is one of the biggest parts of my writing process, and I would be lying if I said that I have a, you know, this fancy writing process and it's just so clinical and this, that, and the other, and this is how you do this, that, and the other. I'm not that person. I can only tell you what I know and what I know works for me. So this is what works for me, and I hope that maybe you give yourself some time to consider if you need mood playlists or character playlists, or I don't know, even if you want to structure it in the way like the beginning of the book scene playlists versus the middle of the book scene playlist, and then the ending of your book playlist. Like, literally you can do anything that you want. And the reason why I prefer Spotify is because it's so easy to make a playlist, and it's so easy to like add, remove, all the stuff. It's just so easy to work with. The only thing I don't like is the fact that you can't really skip into it without preemptively attracting an ad or something, and I don't like the ads. But I don't have the premium. I have iTunes Radio, or like it's like $10.99 a month, and you can download all the songs offline and stuff. I use that because it's what works for me. I have a lot of music on iTunes already, so it just makes sense for me. This isn't just for people who, you know, want to plan everything to death. This is also for, you know, people who just want to pants their ass off, and that works for them. So it allows me to access my creativity, supercharge it, and think of stuff to write about. And I think that's the most important thing here. Music for me is like the most important key thing for me when I'm writing. I cannot write without music. I cannot live without music when I'm writing. It's just super important to my writing process. So I wanted to dedicate an entire video for writing playlists. You don't realize how important this is until you sit there and think like, oh, I wish I had a song that makes me like really sad, or I really wish I had like a sappy love instrumental song. Like what, like, can you imagine like if you're writing and you're so stressed out and you have 10,000 words to do in like 4 days, and you just, and you have to write like a love scene or a sad scene or a happy scene or a funeral scene or whatever, and you have this playlist and you have it set up to where you can instantly just go to Spotify, hit click, and find all of the songs that definitely make you feel that specific way for that specific scene. It's just, to me, it's common sense, but a lot of people may not think of this. So I wanted to share my thoughts, my experience, and pass it along because I think that this is super important for anyone who loves music. So again, if you would like to check out my Spotify playlists, it's definitely not perfect and it's not complete. So that link will be in the description box below, and I will love to hear your comments about this because I feel like a lot of writers like need music, but we don't really talk about music. So if you also want music recommendations, definitely check out my Spotify link down below. So that's it. If you have any recommendations of your own, of music playlists that you would like to share, you can definitely give me a holler in the comments below and we can talk all about music, because I will never refuse a recommendation. Love music so much. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I make videos typically every Tuesday and Friday, but for this month I am only going to post every Friday for sure. Might post a couple Tuesdays, but I'm not sure how many. Finally, I would love it if you would consider following me on my social media. I live on the internet and so I'm always replying, always interacting, and I would love it if you would consider following me on Twitter or Instagram, because that's the two places that I am most active. It's at Evie Driver, and you can also check out my author website if you are curious about my WIP. Gravity Rising is going to be so epic, you guys. I'm so excited. I have it printed out and it's going so well. I'm just so happy. Anyway, I will see you in the next video.